Sir Nedzana PM is giving us summary presentation of the book called Understanding the Purpose of Change. No change, no development. Development requires change. This is the most challenging manuscript written by Sir Nedzana PM in terms of reminding, encouraging the public to adhere on accepting and abiding on life changes. This is Netka production. Let us listen.
First of all, I would like to appreciate for this wonderful time before each and everyone who is watching Netka production, as I just want to give a summary about one of the books which I wrote, Understanding the Purpose of Change. So one thing that I can apparently suggest at the moment, before I go further introducing this book to the international community, is that change in itself is important. I can say it more and more. Change is important. So this book is written after so many challenges I have seen and discovered about people who knows anything about a change, but becoming difficult products to accept it upon their lives. So change in everything occurs every day, so and every time. Even now, as you are watching me as I'm presenting this book, change is still occurring. So when you are reading it, wherever you are, if you are fortunate enough to get a copy, a change is taking place, as I said. So it includes almost each and every thing that involves change, which a human being can bring before we anticipate changes occurring at some other things exterior. But change must begin from us as individuals. So there shall be nothing which will proceed or take place without the involvement of change. So change is the universal language that takes place almost each and every day, including us as human beings. We are the product of changes. So the way things were yesterday, it is no longer the same today. So look at the government itself, parliament, leadership system, set of implemented rules, infrastructures, and other coherent facilities are simultaneously changing, because development in itself influences change to take place. So I wrote this book from experience in order to encourage every person or everyone who life means something to them, that they have to understand that change is so much significant upon our lives. If we can allow to be the product of change, obvious development would be inevitable in such a way that starting from changing ourselves before we think of others. So this may warmly approach to the public for us to consider an awareness of change. So that's what I can specifically say based on the issue of changes. So this is a very wonderful book. I am simply just presenting it before you now, Understanding the Purpose of Change.
Sir Nedzana PM is a Bible teacher, lecturer at a Light Christian Ministry Seminary School. If you want to join his online classes, Bible study, mentoring program, you can email him on pnedzana@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp him on 071 134 8004. His books are manual of studies in his accredited institute, feeding current generation with information. This is Netka production. We are here for you.
So once more, as I still proceed, understanding the purpose of change is a challenging matter, because change involves people to participate on action taking over something which sometimes you might not be ready to indulge. Unless you allow a change to take place, mandatory changes will enforce you to glide with its pace. And once you become the same victim, you will begin to live a frustrated life. So every day we talk about economic changes, political changes, and our physical bodies keeps on changing without our consent. Only our minds are not capable enough to change unless we devote ourselves on developing every day in terms of understanding this change. So change is taking place everywhere. We are now living in the fourth industrial revolution. Almost every machinery is computerized and technological innovation is taking place in a greater way. So educational curriculum is changing. These days we take more time studying online, of which it was not the same from the past decade. This fourth industrial revolution is changing systems. Labor works labor works are requiring a certain skill which involves little bit academic experience to fit on operating things. So illiterate people are becoming disadvantageous if they found not having a certain skill or qualification of something, if not profession. So education now is a serious matter. All in all, is all about academic changes. So look at the mobile phones and apps during my lifetime. When I grew up, there was no cell phones. I began to see a cell phone at the age of 15 while I was at the lower primary school. So the person who had it was a certain businessman of our local area who was known as Edi Tinyiko Mangani, the one who used to own the tavern. So at school, cell phones were rare. You could complete grade 12 as we can call it now, but by then we used to say grade standard 10 without having a cell phone. It was possible, but these days even the preschool kids are able to operate Android cell phones. This is a great significance of change which we ought to understand. So nowadays we no longer buy a compact disc or DVD players, although we claim that piracy has played a major role on collapsing that industry. But I don't blame the process. Instead, I admire the greatness of an effective change that is took place, because most of the people these days are becoming more computer literate, of which previously was not the same way. So that's what I can try to say. So I like our South African government in considering illiterate people by means of offering free academic lessons at TVET colleges, Abet centers, Karigude, and many more various vacations in private sector, whereby they offer bursaries to equip everyone who considers education seriously, as it is the major instrument of change. So I understand that the whole process does not satisfy all people, but very few who are found being productive of such are the key beneficiaries. So government every year supply first year enrolled students at the universities and colleges with NSFAS bursaries, loans, trying to elevate the issue of poverty and strive to the disadvantaged people who are coming from the bad backgrounds. So now they have initiated unemployed social grant for the unemployed due to the spread of coronavirus, which was a great pandemic which took a lot of lives. So the main reason for this grant is for assisting unemployed so that they can get something for themselves out of it. So government has introduced the precautions measures against this virus, which its strict amended alert levels of restrictions forbid a certain number of people to operate at their normal conditions in respect of social distancing, which was another change. So that is the reason this book is very much vital for you to get a copy, because it is educating an entire nation in order to make us understand something concerning change. I understand that our economic status during this period of, or during that period of coronavirus was very sick, but governmental attempts to uphold all critical measure by means of trying to solve all problems affecting the economy is what I call understanding a purpose of change. So all government officials took a promising bold step which has inflicted us into participating into this change, regardless of allowing to be subjugated by all depressive measures that has led into economic depreciation. Arrival of COVID-19 brought massive changes into our lives, especially at something that has distorted us economically, but through understanding that change can come with whatsoever means, it has placed us into a great understanding which later conveyed us into a state of economic recovery plan. So if you are not ready to become the participant of change, you will be affected by the consequences of change. So this is what you're supposed to know when I am trying to elaborate something about change. So that's what I can say by now. But I think I just want to edify something concerning what I am talking about. You change or you adopt. It is obvious that change is influenced by many things before anything seems really changing. Seasonal changes because of that reason, but it is a correct decision making to involve yourself on change or adapt. Change is a process of becoming different compared to what you seems like or something seems like before. And adapt means to make yourself suitable or fit on something related to the similar change as it becomes. So as I proceed, changing and adaptation works hand in glove. I will begin into you as an individual before getting into the next person. For example, if you are a parent, being married, having children, when children are still young, you shift your concentration by looking at them, watching on how do they grow. And if you keep more time with them, sometimes you cannot be able to recognize them that they are growing. Children at the age of 3 until 18, they grow faster than you can expect, whereby as a parent will also amaze people to see you working with them. If you got them at the age of 18 until 25, it can happen that they catch you up on height when they grow. And at that point, you might be seen as you are wrecked, whereas you are still growing. So, young ladies catch up a sudden growth than male ones in height and body fitness, according to the research I have made. So, they likely to catch the height of their parents. That was an illustration which I hope is not a fact, since it depends to the environment, even the system which we use to nurture our children. But 90 out of 100% still remain as an existing truth. So that's what I can expatiate based on the matter. So physical growth does not mean psychological changes. So physical growth is mandatory, while psychological growth involves voluntary changes based on what you hear, see, that result into positive changes that boost insights or mental growth. So based on this fact, it is clear to find people of the same age at the same grade not behaving the same or reacting the same depending to what they are nurtured or the company they associate themselves with. So the reason why education is important to all ages, it is about altering our brain thinking power, strengthening our thinking system, brainwashing our thoughts, which later create good ideas that shall bring a change upon our lives. So positive thinking creates good ideas that affect our ideas, which later produces huge changes upon our lives. So that's what I can expatiate based on the matter. So we do not control our growth. Instead, we can control ourselves on what we get, what we and what to do, to say, which eventually make us disciplined people at the end of the day. The only distinction that differentiate years in growth and the content information we know, of which we call it insight, is information we digest through reading, hearing, and watching. So the first contributing factor is education. So this is what you ought to understand. So education as a substance to influence change. I want you to understand something in here. Education change our thinking system. As I have mentioned, and we are at the school background and we meet with people who are coming from different backgrounds, meeting different things, who are coming from, or where they are coming from, as they come from different cultures with different creeds. So out of such we begin to learn from each other through socialization, where friendship and teamwork begin to take place, both indoor or in classroom situation or atmosphere, and outdoor. So in terms of friendship and networking system, so or teamwork. So teamwork as a substance that influences change. So people who believes in teamwork positively achieve great things if they maintain teamwork traits than individual who want to depend only in his or her own understanding. So it is good to associate with others. No one who knows nothing. As people, we have to learn associating with each other. In our aim is to reach higher goals in life. Teamwork is one other significant substance that influences change upon our lives. Working as a team create good spacing of learning from other people's ideas and let me say an action which at the end of the day we eventually found in a spot of learning something in benefit. A lot of companies which are daily changing an economic status of the country, not an individual work, but it is work which involves teamwork methods. Teamwork is also essential also in the house of the Lord, because pastors who are called all together with the believers who are supporting to build the body of Christ, for the body of Christ to get complete teamwork spirit has to be employed. So these are some of the facts which I think it is better for me to put it, as I am simply just presenting my book which I wrote, Understanding the Purpose of Change. So when you read on the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 4 on the Good News Bible, we have many parts in the body, and all these parts have different functions. Is when you are reading on the Bible. So taking our children to school, as we have been at school, and seeking job opportunities, once again to be found going to the churches where we fellowship. The matter is about caring about voluntary growth inside, because outside growth is automatic and we don't even think about it. We find ourselves automatically growing. Why do all those things I have mentioned before? Is that it must provide a change upon our lives. Change physically, change spiritually, change psychologically, and change emotionally, change. Every segment that concerns a change, I have mentioned, work on it to develop yourself every day. So the reason why I say change or adapt, in other words, try to change your thinking, action, and later your speech will follow. It's then that your action will adapt you into the condition which you have accepted to find yourself in, and why this can't be easy. So no one who would have enforced you to change. You would have pushed yourself at a certain change you have exposed yourself to. So being found at a condition where you are being forced someone to action, we call it manipulation. And as it is defined as a devious management of some situation, especially for one's own advantage. So that's how we can define manipulation. So as we are proceeding, change by manipulation is abuse of power. Change that is instigated by manipulation against someone is the abuse of power, and such a change is not pleasant. Although any change actually does not satisfy all parties, but those who have instigated into it take place, usually into political and religious offenses, both deals with changing an attitude and behavior of a human being. So, testimony. I still remember one of the good days when I went to pray for someone who was seriously sick. And the very same person told me when I arrived, Pastor, yesterday I had a terrible dream. I saw some people wearing white garments surrounding me, behind them, with people crying to see me, trying to see me sleeping in the bed. So those who wore those garments said to me, "Welcome home." I felt like those people were angels who have been sent to take my soul. Then, with a great terror, I woke up, and when I heard you knocking on the door, so I said to the very same person that no. I said to her that it was not a terrible dream. Those who wore white garments came to strengthen you from the situation you were encountering at that moment. And I said, I see you recovering in such a way that I don't think it will take a week. So this is an encouraging statement. So my words automatically create changes upon her. Then she recovered from the same sickness. But if I have told her that those angels she had seen, for they were there to if I have said that for they were there to take a soul, she could be troubled by the very same time. So in other words, it's just a grace of God as I have entered to serve her. She could treat me as a savior or something else, but the way I have interpreted that dream made her to change and recover very fast. So words we tell people can create changes upon their lives. If you speak positive about someone else, will excel. Similar applies when you speak bad things, and then the very same person will be destroyed. Be careful when you talk. Tongue of a man does not have bones, but it can break or build a person. So that's what you should have to consider when you are working with people. So victim of change is one of the things which I think it could be better for me to elaborate by this time. So becoming a victim of change is when you don't allow to become the product of change. I would like to add my personal testimony in this passage. Since I began to respond my calling as a pastor, I am daily encountering situations which requires me to change, especially on the work I am assigned to do. So church always welcoming new converts who are learned, owning higher positions at their workplace, teaching spirit, and the atmosphere in the church is always changing. So the way I used to preach, the way I used to pray is no longer fitting a current standard. My sermon is supposed to change. I have to read the Bible, including other materials for study, in order to stand as a man who is having information when I stand before people. So to be a pastor is not all about preaching and praying for people, preparing them to go to heaven. It's more than that. A pastor must have a great knowledge which he can get through reading different materials, networking with other pastors, being mentored with others. All this provides changes upon my life. Note this, there are some other problems which we cannot be able to solve them through the help of the Holy Spirit alone. Some of the problems we require the knowledge we have obtained from other sources of hearing from other people. So since from accepting this kind of change, it has helped me to be able to work well with all classes, even those who are having higher professions than I do. So by the grace of the Lord, I am able to lead them since I accepted the challenge. So it is all about accepting the challenge. So that is one of the most vital matter I would like to share with you as outside there. So fear to welcome a change. Nothing good which fear brings upon someone's life except regret. I mean serious regret. Fear to welcome a change causes division to occur at each and everything. For instance, if you have made friendship with someone about the school activities, therefore you pass and your friend fails, expect a division between you to take place unless you force it to proceed. In other words, the fear to welcome a change can make a division. People who are employed together at a certain company and the other one receives a promotion. So friendship pace might decline somewhere somehow. Look even at your relatives. It's too much uncommon to find relatives understand each other unless if all are at the same level and when it comes to finances, properties and all the rest. So if you are poor, you're likely to be segregated. So these are some of the things I can expatiate. Unity exists among people who are sharing common things. If you prefer to welcome a change, get ready to face division at some certain areas of living. Friends we are currently having are no longer the same with whom we had before during our primary level. The only thing that divides us are many, but the host of it that has a lot of things has changed, and other refuse to change with what has made us to change by the way as we are today. So during the time when I was at the primary school, I had I can say a lot of friends whom we used to play soccer together. But the moment I started to quit soccer and focus on my studies, all those whom we have been together because of soccer went away and I was left alone. So those who were fond of reading and loving school activities began to associate with me and form a good friendship. Even by that time when I received Jesus Christ as the Lord and the Savior, a lot of friends whom we used to drink together left me, therefore I formed a new friendship. So these are some of the things we ought to understand as people. So shifting from something else to something else is another factor that contributes change. So people fear to participate on bringing changes. I understand that changing habit which is addicted to something is hard, but telling yourself that you need to change makes it possible for you to change. And most of the people are smokers, drug abusers, even more addicted to many things which is hard for them to get rid of such things. So requires a gallant action for the sake of such things, for them to get rid of it. So if you conceal such fears, no one who can come with a hammer to break such fear except yourself to stand by your own and deal with it. So lifetime is about changes. We are all traveling in the journey called life, and it is upon our decision making on where are we going to end up. So these are some of the things which I can feel that it is important to share with you. So change while you can. Don't allow to be the victim of change. Shift from bad habits, nothing else they do except delaying your progress. You might be seen enjoying, but the reality of situation is known by yourself that you are suffering. So suffering and pain go together. Both action taken taking to change, and joy also goes together in, it is the matter of choice. So this is what I can actually tell you as the public outside.
Sir Nedzana PM is a Bible teacher, lecturer at Elite Christian Ministry Seminary School. If you want to join his online classes, Bible study, mentoring program, you can email him on pnedzana@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp him on 071 134 8004. His books are manual of studies in his accredited institute, feeding current generation with information. This is Netka Production. We are here for you.
So change is the matter of choice. You don't take action, you remain the same. No one who can come to pull you where you are from. You are no longer a child. We commonly feed our actions with a certain habit of something. Thereafter, sometimes the same habit we have fed create a strong habit which is hard to abandon or break. That eventually make us get hard to alter from bad to good habits. So understanding this type of change, I think it takes us back from the drawing board where we handle the same actions which form the habit in order to recreate them to become new habits. So we become more reluctant to bringing changes, and we become products of unchanged life. If you want to be the person of influence, accept a change. People get fascinated over something who keeps on changing steps of doing things. If you are a leader who is dormant and changing all the fashion, get ready to lose people who are fond of changes. Even the organization you lead will suffer stunted growth, whereby the one who is influencing such things is you as a leader. So these are some of the things which I would like to share with you, and I hope it will be a very good benefit to an entire public. So started growth is the result of fearing to change. If you see that something is no longer valid or serving purpose, change it or replace it with something else. Even the fashion won't last forever. It keeps on changing, because also the fashion designers keeps on creating new things and coming up with new designs. So if you are a fashion designer, then you stick to one brand without improving its quality, you will lose a lot of customers. Learn it from the day itself. At some days it will be cloudy, some days will be sunny, some days windy, some days rain. So it keeps on changing. Let's change. I'm shouting that let us try by all means to change. So you don't change, then comes started growth. You don't change, you get affected by the changes. I still remember when I started Visionary Empowerment Institute, I was a top student by then, teaching English at the classroom. So literature, grammar and composition, some people I taught them then, today they are the university graduates. University postgraduates. So they have earned more knowledge than the one they had before. So I choose to stack at some knowledge I had before. I could have problem. Understand the purpose of change. Train us to become fruitful at each and every field we have subjected ourselves in. A teacher is a lifetime learner, including the pastor, and becoming a lifetime learner means a lifetime acceptor of changes to change. So we are people who are always created to bring the difference. So bringing a difference is a change. So weakness of pleasing people with your useless life is another thing which supports and change the lifestyle. So this is what I can try to expatiate. So unchanged the lifestyle has got a lot of disadvantages. Fearing yeah, unchanged the lifestyle. Fearing to lose your stupid acclaimed nickname you are given by your friends by means of doing goofy things is another factor that delays your changing lifestyle. I was also the product of such things. When I remember, I had 14 nicknames, which are Brahma Ninja, 302. I still remember it's like I was doing grade 7, grade 6, grade 4, grade 5. They used to call me Brahma Ninja, 302, Portugal, 7 and 7,000. Yeah, you see, some they used to call me Tsalas, Guinya, Muvondo, Livone, Canavaro, Brukuntleru, Masiza Ngintangu, Mabudzambuba, Gwanda, and so forth, So, lucky enough, mine was related to something good. Some other people are given nicknames which are in contrary with doing something good. A name is something significant because it describes your living qualities or qualities you portray while living. So when you are a drug dealer, smuggler, they will give you a name. And when you change, ladies or boys, they will give you a suitable name for that. So when you are given a name of something, your actions will totally support your name qualities, as I have mentioned, especially a nickname. As I said that I have been given a lot of nicknames. So if they can say you are the boss, you will make sure that in whatever you do or say, you will urge to display that bossing character over others. So fear to disappoint your surname will destroy your progress. So try to realign yourself and discover yourself. Find out your potential and maximize your potential. I still remember when I read another book of Dr. Miles Monroe, Maximizing Your Potential. So life does not end today. Change, and please change. You don't know how many nicknames you have. Mine was 14, if I'm not mistaken, or if my memory still serves me well. But I managed to get over from all those. I got rid of them all by means of altering my lifestyle, despite minding on what would people say when I began to live like this. Life is a wheel. Yesterday I was something else. Today I'm something else. Tomorrow I will be something else. Fearing to be criticized is a problem. Fearing to be criticized is a problem. Everyone can tell you that you are wise, but very few who can tell you that you are stupid. So let me tell you, fearing to be criticized is to be stupid, while thinking that you are wise. Here is the case. None who cannot be criticized if changing from becoming something else was a part of those who have been criticized. Dogs don't bark a non-moving vehicle or a non-moving car. But when the cars start moving, also the dogs will begin to bark. So when people start to talk, more especially when you are moving at the right track, stay knowing that now you are doing the right. Don't allow to be delayed or controlled by what people say. Focus on your things. Don't worry about someone's business unless you are given a chance to be involved in order to give an opinion. So there are something which I want to learn I want you to learn. I want you to learn something out of it. So check the following. When you start something, people will criticize. When you quit, people will criticize. When you start again, people will criticize. When you don't care and proceed, people will then praise you. So you see, that is the process of overcoming a to be criticized. So there is a process which you will pass through, such as the following. People who will criticize you at first are those who don't believe that you can do something, which they were expecting as usual. So number two, are those who were expecting that you couldn't mind about those who thought you, when it comes to this, who thought you could do nothing. So another three are those who were the first ones by means of supporting the first idea that says, look, he or she is trying again. And the last group the last group that shall praise you, it includes all of them as they now have a testimony. So that you are not a loser or quitting material. I just want to put this clear. Criticism is one of the greatest weapons which the losers use to weaken those who are about to bring a change. After each and every criticism, make sure that you press on, because defying criticism gives birth to praise. All great people today, on their upcoming success, for they went through a bitterness, words of criticism. So, for propelling change, the word propel means to cause something to move at a certain direction by its force. It is also involved into contribution of changes. So this kind of change likely to occur caused by something else, more especially which is beyond your control. For example, like when pieces of papers are being driven away by a wind. Similar applies to the change of curriculum at school, change of services at workplace, change of laws at the government, and so forth. They compel majority of people to change. Minority appear without any notification before, but they first notify about future changes to prepare those who will be affected by such a change. So there is no change of curriculum without announcing to the public that sooner than later there shall be changes that shall occur. So people must be ready for the very same changes. People who are not ready for this kind of change likely to find themselves into a very detrimental situation. So advantages of a propelling change, is preparing people before a time of crisis, and influencing people to get ready for action. So even to prepare people for critical endeavors. Also influencing people for further improvement. So disadvantages of propelling change: create stress and depression, oppresses people who are not ready for action, promotes economic defects, increases high rate of malevolent. So these are some of the things which you're supposed to know when it comes to a change. So incidental change comes from the word incident, means an event or occurrence of crisis unexpectedly due to failure of following prescribed rules. All people who are negatively affected by a change often belong to such an incidental type of change as it products. So nothing good happens here at this stage except facing the reality of something which you ought, which you have dodged before as a result of not accepting a change. So in this part, That's where we find losers, criticizers, and many more negative outcomes. So if at home they told you to quit drugs, then you object it. Here is when you face the reality and the consequences of refusing to live the truth. So why it is called an incidental change? The answer is simple. There is a difference between accident and incident. Accident is an expected event with negative consequences occurring without the intention of the one suffering the consequences, while incident is an event or occurrence of crisis unexpectedly due to failure of following prescribed rules. So that is the reason an incident happens due to disobedience to the set rules to avoid it, whereas incident happens unexpectedly to someone who is obeying the rules but being found happening unexpectedly. So that's how we can differentiate it. So advantages of incidental change: recorrect a person's behavior, builds attitude, build a great self-esteem, influences people to further improvement, recreate recovery plans. So disadvantages of incidental change: influences a deep regret and consolation, erodes trust and confidence, eliminate favors. So there is what I would like us to focus now, which we call it a capitulating change. What is a capitulating change? The word capitulating comes from the word capitulation, which means the act of surrendering to an enemy upon reducing to heads or articles, formal agreement. So this kind of change happens in many ways, as it is about violating rules in order to allow something to work instead. So for example, the same like when you delegate a person to a certain service, qualifying before, then when things changes due to evaluating personal experience of the same person, you keep on reserving the same and qualify the person to serve the service in terms of respecting order and experience. So one other factor is about surrendering, which comes from the word surrender, which means to give up into the power, control, or possession of another, especially military forces. In life it works in the same way. So when it comes to the very same issue which I am talking about, people surrender to unqualified positions. People surrender to the opponents on sports, boxing. People surrender academically if their attempts get fruitless. People surrender in marriages if it does not suit their willingness. People surrender on job marketing if they don't get jobs. People surrender in crime if they see that their lives are no longer worthy. So to cut the whole story short, people can surrender in different positions in life. I think all these three types of changes are entirely understood. So that's what I can try to expatiate. Advantages of capitulating change is to rediscover hidden strength, to discover new opportunities. And the disadvantages of capitulating change, it exposes you at uncommon dangers. It increases despair. So that's what I can expatiate based on this matter. Personal versus environmental changes. Life of a human being is wired by changes. No improvement unless what we call change is not employed. We normally happen to experience late success in life being dragged by unwilling to change on time. So, person versus environment changes is a direct subheading that reminds us as human beings to think twice at all times. If I can start to you as an individual, always on time, you have to think on how can you improve yourself at what you think will be possible to you at as a time do allows you to participate into such changes. Previously, I mentioned a lot about changes that likely to occur upon our lives, where sometimes we are forced to act unprepared, being pushed by pressure. Yet so, there is something I discovered based on this subject, relying to other people for help, where we end up experiencing disappointments. So environmental changes are normally controlled by nature, which influences many people into the same environment to change. So environmental changes create social norms. I understand that environmental changes, according to other subjects, means the changing of surroundings of an influences on particularly item of interest for or the natural world or ecosystem. But here I refer to a particular political or social setting, arena, or conditional changes affecting human beings. So that's what I can expatiate based on this matter. So community involvement, environmental norms are different, but it is good to be found participating on the services of others. It's shown humanity. If you are living in the community where there is civic matters, it is good to participate with others. It shows unity in collaborating with others. I understand that our economic status is not the same. So these are some of the things I can try to expatiate, but with little you can contribute on societal clubs or funerals and other social activities. If you feel that you have everything, you cannot involve yourself over things. So which you think it could not be suitable for you to do it. Understand that in the environment you are not living alone. One day you will need the service of others as they do need yours now. I still remember one of the rich men said that I cannot even attend funeral of the poor people. He said like that because he was having a lot of money. One day, one of his family members passed on. As he was trusting his money, no one in the community attended the funeral. All food that he bought, thinking that people will come and eat as they love to eat, for they have surprised him. No one who went there. He ended up overthrowing the same food on the and the takeaways on the dustbin. Some of the closest relatives took it with them to go and feed the pigs and their families. So you see this kind of lifestyle. So since that day, I got a lesson that I as a person, I have to understand that no matter how cute, rich am I, in life I require to be in the service of others. One thing I discovered about all this is that people who are having something that seems better than of others adopt a certain thinking that the way even how they do things, even that they have will save them. People don't care what you have. People do what they see. The way you treat others, it is the same way in which they will treat you in return. So that's what you must know. So to be rich is not wrong. To be poor is not a choice. I think I have to put it clear. The way I look, community consists of the same people who belong to this status. Someone who is rich is commonly observed by the properties that someone's own, and the poor, on the other hand, seems by properties and materials he or she is owning. On my entire research, I discovered that our observation to check as whether someone is poor and someone is rich by means of reading the quantity of properties as at least the second of the last ceases to define someone's status of being rich or poor. I have been fortunate to live with someone who looks like a poor person in terms of properties, while in his bank account having above $1 million in dollars. He is a businessman. So his background was not that much fascinating according to the views of people. Could say that it belongs to the poor class. I have been fortunate to interrogate him with what he was doing, including his life plan, and he told me that his plan is to reach an amount of $50 million based on what he wanted to achieve in his dreams. All of a sudden, he established a very serious business, Investec Bank and other supportive business. So those who were suspicious against him began to report him to the police for further investigation based on how he obtained funds to achieve all those things. At the short time, they find out that all his monies came with good conditions, not theft involved. So you see, that's what I was trying to say. The story of someone who was poor but participating at each and every activity required by the community. During the time he lost his loved one, the whole community flocked in to assist with whatever they could to make sure that the funeral goes well. When I compare the story of this poor man and that rich man, it tells me that to be poor and to be rich in the matter which is known by yourself. Don't expose your status as it is part of the community interest. The issue of your status is surrounded with the place where you stay. Immediately you go out of your place, take off that status. It will be easier to work and collaborative with others. So the purpose of being rich and poor all has got a purpose why it is the way as it is. In life, we demand each other's service. The work of the rich is to help the poor, and the work of the poor is to help the rich. If we can subtract this equation, no life at all. And where there is no life, no change. So, the moment when the rich is assisting the poor, it is what I can say. It is up to the one who is poor to follow great endeavors of trying to improve herself or himself, and the rich, by means of doing so, is commonly attracting a lot of riches to come upon him or her. So if we can understand this system and purpose as a whole, we are done about this issue we call a change. So giving is another symbol that extracts a change to take place upon our lives. So vexation, slavery, servitude, and other unacceptable practices which the poor uses subtract more, and they have so. But once they maintain giving or sharing principles, suddenly get enshrouded by blessings of kindness. So the poor fail to reconsider that being found in position of being assisted by someone who is rich is a blessing. Ultimately, extend a wild dream of being poor. That's the reason some they say to be poor is a choice. When you misuse an opportunity which you're supposed to improve yourself, you're likely to experience a severe hardship more than the ones you have encountered before. Some they support this by saying playing by a luck is a disaster. Luck comes once. Chances sometimes can come as the following. Personal chances sometimes appear as an opportunity. So that's why most of the people likely to say. So remember that an opportunity is a chance of advancement, progress, or profit. Some can define it as a favorable circumstance or occasion to let you attain what you have been looking for. So finding a job, even if it was not the one which you are looking for, it is part of an opportunity. So getting access of being enrolled at the university is another part of opportunity, even when it was not a course you were looking for. Actually, an opportunity could be something you are looking for, or what can let you be into something even when it was not part of what you are looking for. So opportunities are influenced by environmental changes in terms of supporting you. So in return, as an individual, don't miss your opportunity. There is a difference between luck and opportunity. Luck is something that happens to someone by chance, a chance or occurrence, or a superstitious feeling that brings a fortune or success. So personal chances sometimes appear as a luck. So I want you to understand something based on this. As I have defined it before, I hope you got a straightforward meaning. To win lottery is a luck. To find someone who can come and say that tomorrow let's go to my workplace, I have reserved a space for you, is a luck. To find money or anything good on the way, whereby if you ask and find out who dropped it and you find more, is luck. To be given a car is luck, including everything is luck. One of the psychologists said to me that there is nothing called luck, but lucky is something which your mind prepares, more especially what is needy, you're likely to find it. So that's what they likely to say. So in spiritual overview, we can put it down as a response of what you have been looking for seriously in unexpected way is lucky. So it is truly uncommon to find people who are saying we are lucky to get this and that, which they were not looking for. So an opportunity is what you are ready for, and lucky is what you were no longer ready for that it could happen. So when you go to the interview, it means you go there being ready as whether you will pass or not. So when the day arrive, when they call those whom they have shortlisted, you find that you belong to them. We call opportunity. But when you find that you have called all whom they have shortlisted and you are not found on the sequence, then when they begin to call those whom they supposed to shortlist, they find someone missing, then they call you, is a luck. So in short, luck is a doorway of interest multiplied by opportunities. So that's what I can try to say. So as I proceed, season and time. I know that this is what you have been waiting for since the prelude of my book. So there is a lot of things based on that. So I think I have expatiated a lot based on what I supposed to tell the public.
Sir Nedzana PM is a Bible teacher, lecturer at a Light Christian Ministry Seminary School. If you want to join his online classes, Bible study, mentoring program, you can email him on pnedzana@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp him on 071 134 8004. His books are manual of studies in his accredited institute, feeding current generation with information. This is Netca Production. We are here for you.